All right, geometry, we are talking about circles still in chapter 10. Moving on to part 2 of chapter 10, which is starting out talking about segment lengths. So we've had a bunch of segments making angles. Now we're talking about the actual segment lengths. So the first one, we have intersecting chords or secants inside of the circle. So if you split this up into this part and this part, and then the other one, C and D, this part and this part, they intersect at a certain point. So, since they intersect, they have a certain relationship, okay? And that relationship is A times B, so the part of this, A times B equals C times D. So basically, the part of the segment times the part of the segment equals the part times the part, okay? And so when you look at intersecting secants outside of the circle, you kind of have a similar relationship there. But in this case, you're going to have the whole segment. And so in fact, I'm going to redraw this picture. So your picture might already be like that, but like, let's say this is AC, and then that point is B, and then E, and this point is D. So if that's the case, you have the whole thing, so AC times just the part that's outside, AB, equals the whole thing again, so AE times the part that's outside, which is AD. Okay? So in that case, we've got the whole thing times the part equals the whole thing times the part. Okay? And then the last one is a secant with a tangent line. And so when you have something like this, we're going to have kind of the same situation. So on your paper, you already have these labeled. So A, let's call that B, and then call this D, and then this point is C. So in this case, we're taking the tangent line, which is AB, so it's AB squared equals kind of the same situation. The small part, AC, times the whole thing, AD. Okay, and so those are basically your three types of segments that you might run into. Okay, so let's do a few of these, and then I'll give you what numbers to do on the homework. Okay, so let's look at number 1. We've got solve for x and two chords that are intersected. So I'm going to go the part times the part equals the part times the part. So 10 times x equals 14 times 15. Okay, so in that case, 14 times 15 is 210. And when I divide by 10 to get x by itself, I get x equals 21. There we go. Pretty simple there. So number 3, we got kind of the same situation. We've got part times the part. So 27 times x plus 5 equals the part times the part again. So 24 times x plus 7. And so we're going to have to get x by itself again. So in this case, I'm going to distribute the 27. 27 times 5 is 135. And then 24 times 7 is 168. And so I'm going to go ahead and subtract off 24x and also subtract 135. And I get 3x equals minus 135, that's 33. And so when I divide by 3, x equals 11. Okay. All right, so those first two are pretty simple, just as long as you're following the correct formula. Okay, so now on number 5, these are secants. So in this case, it's the whole thing times the part. The whole thing times the part. So on the left side, I've got the whole thing is 9 times 9 plus x. So it's going to be the outside times the whole thing equals the part outside times the whole thing, which is 8 plus 9, 19, which is 27. And so, just like before, we're going to distribute. I get 81 plus 9x equals 8 times 27, which is 216. And so I'm going to subtract 81 to both sides. And we get 216 minus 81, which is 135. And divide by 9. 135 divided by 9 is 15. And it did say solve for x, so we're done. Okay? So on the other side, you were doing the same stuff, you just got to make sure to plug it in order to find what they're looking for. Okay, so on the back side, let's go ahead and switch sides here and look at some of these ones where we have to find something. Okay, so same kind of situation. The part times the whole thing. So that's 12 times the whole thing, which is 12 plus x plus 8. So x plus 8 plus 12 is 20. Equals the part, again, 15 times 15 plus x plus negative 1 is x plus 14. And so I'm going to distribute, get 12x plus 240 equals 15x plus, it's 15 times 14, 210. And so I'm going to go ahead and subtract 12x to this side, and then subtract 210 to the other side, and I'm going to end up with 30 equals 3x. And so in this case, x equals 10. But that's not exactly what I was looking for. I got to plug it back into yz. So yz equals 10 minus 1, which is 9. Okay. And there it is. Okay. So let's go to the next one. This one we have a secant and a tangent. So remember, the tangent squared equals same thing, the part times the whole thing. So the tangent part is 16 squared equals 8 times the whole thing. So 5x minus 1 plus 8 is 5x plus 7. And then I keep doing the same thing I've been doing, which is solving. So that's 16 squared, which is 256. Then 8 times 5 is 40x plus 8 times 7, which is 56. And then we're getting the x by itself. So I've got 240 equals 40x. And so when I divide by 40, I end up with 6 for x. But again, that's not what I was looking for. I need to find Pn. So Pn is going to be 5 times 6 is 30 minus 1, which is 29. And there we go. And I might have done that wrong. Oops. Yeah. This is minus 56, which is 200, which gives me 5 for x, not 6. And so, when I plug that in, I do not get 29. I get 5 times 5 is 25 minus 1, which is 24. All right. So we'll do one more, and then I'll leave you to it. Let's go ahead and do kind of a complicated one. So number 16. Number 16, I've got the part, or the tangent one, squared. So x plus 5 squared equals the outside times the whole thing, which is 27. Okay, so in this case, I've got 12 times 27 is 324, x plus 5 squared. Now this one you can kind of do this one of two ways, but the easiest way is going to be to just get rid of the square right away. So the square root of 324, which is 18, so x plus 5 equals 18, and then subtract 5. Now, that wasn't really that complicated, but that might have been kind of tough to remember how to solve something with a square, okay? So I changed my mind. Let's do one more here. Number 14, these are two secants. So I'm going the part times the whole thing. So x, and then the whole thing is x plus 5 equals 4 times the whole thing, which is 6. So that gives me 24. When I distribute this, it's x squared plus 5x. And so on this one, we actually need to go ahead and get everything equal to 0. This goes back to our algebra skills. So 5x squared plus 5x minus 24. If you have a quadratic like this, we're going to go ahead and factor to solve this. So what two factors of negative 24 give us 5? 1 and 24 doesn't. 2 and 12 doesn't. 3 and 8 does. So it's positive 5, so I'm going to have negative 3 and positive 8. And so I've got x minus 3 and x plus 8 are my factors. And when I set those equal to 0, x minus 3 equals 0. I add 3 to both sides, I get x equals 3. X minus 8 equals 0. Or I subtract 8 to both sides, and I get x equals negative 8. Well, negative 8 can't be here because a negative number wouldn't make sense, so I just kind of cross that out, and our answer is 3. Okay? Little factoring reminder. All right? So, if you have questions, please email me, and we'll be talking about this some more tomorrow. Peace.